Welcome to yet another awesome session of mindful living.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Ashish ji, happy morning to you.
Happy morning, sir. Happy morning. Happy morning, everyone. Really appreciate your taking out time and investing in learning about Patanjali Yoga Sutras. I happened to meet CEO of a mutual fund a couple of years ago, and he was sharing with me how reading about Patanjali Yoga Sutras and applying it in his life helped him deal with the many challenges that he faced and rise in his corporate career. Inspired by him, I bought my own copy of Patanjali Yoga Sutras, but unfortunately, I didn't make much progress with reading it. And when I happened to meet Shruti a couple of months ago, I was deeply impressed with her contemporary take on the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And we invited her to conduct a session for Mindful Living Community in the month of June. And that session was highly appreciated. I'll request Shruti to share the link of that session in the chat. In case some of you have missed the first session on Yoga Sutras, please watch the recording and benefit from the same. And the session today is about the Kleshas that we have, the four-fold path of which was recommended by Patanjali, Sage Patanjali in his ancient text, which was written about 2,500 years ago. Shruti is a happiness coach. I'll request everyone to keep themselves on mute, please. Shruti is a yoga teacher, certified yoga practitioner from the Yoga Institute, Mumbai, which is one of the foremost yoga institutions in the world. She's a wellness coach from Harvard Medical School and a certified happiness coach from Berkeley Institute of Wellbeing. She's an award-winning designer who's done his master's in design from NIFT Delhi. Welcome, Shruti, to the session today. We really appreciate your taking out time and sharing the wisdom on Patanjali Yoga Sutras with all of us today.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ashish. Thanks for giving me this platform to speak about my favorite topic. Thank you.
Shruti ji, happy morning to you.
Happy morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, friends. Good morning, Shruti. Many of you are joining our session for the first time. If you're joining a mindful living session for the first time, please type FT in the chat box.
Great morning to everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Friends, if you're joining a mindful living session for the first time, please type FT in the chat box. Okay, thank you, Shruti. Thank you, Rajiv. I'll take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I'm the founder and CEO of. I'll request.
Please mute everyone if not speaking.
I started Mindful Living in 2018 with a mission to help 1 million working professionals lead healthier, happier, and wealthier lives. Prior to starting Mindful Living, I worked in the corporate sector for over 25 years with leading organizations like Xerox, Tata AIG, Marsh India, HCL, and a company promoted by the Dabur family. During the years of my working in the corporate sector, I saw how stressed the people are and how this stress is taking a toll on their health and happiness. Being a certified mindfulness teacher myself, I thought that the message of living mindfully needs to be taken to the large number of people working in the corporate sector. And that with that mission, we started Mindful Living in December 2018. And I'm very happy to share with you that over the last 4 years, we have conducted over 300 sessions for leading organizations in the corporations like Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group, IBM, Schneider, Airbnb, Signify, EXL, HDFC, Kotak, and many more. The session today is being organized as a part of the Mindful Living community, which was formed in April 2020 at the onset of the first lockdown. A few of my friends reached out to me and requested me to conduct mindfulness meditation sessions for them to help them deal with the stress and anxiety that the lockdown was causing. one thing led to the other, and that group of 10 friends has now grown to be a vibrant community of over 3,000 people who connect regularly to learn, practice, and share about living mindfully. If you would like to be a part of this awesome community and stay updated on the events that we conduct every weekend, please click on the link shared in the chat and join our community. It's a very safe space where nobody judges you and everybody shares their thoughts and their learnings with everyone else. We do not encourage any random posts or religious or political posts. So it's a very safe and vibrant group. All our sessions in mindful living are, we promise that all our sessions are guaranteed to improve the quality of life, including the one that you're attending today. Please stay tuned in, keep your cameras on, and show your reactions using that reactions button in the toolbar. Clap, show thumbs up, show love whenever the speaker shares something that resonates with you. On that note, I invite Shruti to take the session forward. And thank you everybody once again for joining us.
Welcome all the adhikaris of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. A very good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you. We all are adhikaris of this ancient Indian wisdom as written in Yoga Sutras by ancient sages, that the person who is ready to have this knowledge will have it. There'll be a medium through which this knowledge will be imparted to adhikari. So in earlier times, friends, the books were not written by just with the mere intention of gaining popularity or fame or money. It was written with the intention of passing on the knowledge to mankind. So when this was compiled, the intention was set right there that this would be given only to people who deserve, who are ready in their state of life, in the phase of their life, to gain this wisdom. So aren't we also lucky and blessed today to be here together to interpret the beautiful ancient science that was written around 2,500 to 5,000 years ago? There is a debate how old this science is. According to some people, it is 2,500 years ago, but some of the people even say that it is more than 5,000 years ago, because some of the portions of the books have been found in the caves of Mohenjo-daro, in the seals of Harappan culture. So it is so old. And during that times, people used to hear the knowledge from their gurus. It's called Shruti. So it's been said that Adi Yogi himself narrated, told all these wisdoms, methods and scope of how we should live our lives to his disciples. And then it was passed on to more and more people. Sage Patanjali, Maharshi Patanjali, was not the one who wrote Patanjali Yoga Sutras. He was the one who compiled Yoga Sutras as per the knowledge, the techniques, and the technology available during those times. He was a grammarian, he was a philosopher, and a scientist himself. And he compiled all these Yoga Sutras from whatever he heard during that time from all his gurus into 195 or 196 sentences, 195 sentences called sutras. And these sutras were divided into 4 chapters. And it's been written in Sanskrit, and very simple sentences, very short sentences. And then these sentences were further interpreted by various people. So you would find a lot of translations and interpretations of Yoga Sutra. Today, I bring forward my personal interpretation because as a yoga researcher, I'm very passionate to dig deep into what is yoga, which is done off the mat. We all do workouts on the mat for our physical health. But then for me, and I'm sure for most of you, health begins in the mind. Mind, feelings, emotions, how we are feeling from inside. It is just not about looking good, weight loss, inch loss, fat loss. It is more to do how we are feeling from inside. And that is what yoga tells us. How to be, how to conduct ourselves off the mat. And in Yoga Sutras, the first sutra says, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. It is a beautiful concept, and the meaning is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Atha, right now at this moment, this is that precious, auspicious moment when you should begin. Anushasanam means discipline. This very moment, this present moment is the moment we have an opportunity to begin a new life. And we all are adhikaris today to begin Atha Yoga Anushasanam. That is the first sutra. For me, it is as auspicious as, doing some ritual. It's like, doing some havan. You have those vibes and you feel good. There is some energy in the room around you. For me, when I talk about Yoga Sutras, I have same feeling. Right now, I feel there is something around me which is so powerful. And I feel so much in gratitude that today I have this opportunity to talk about whatever little I know with all of you. So thanks to Mindful Living for giving me this platform. Thanks, Ashish, for resonating with the concepts of Yoga Sutras. And together we are in this journey of having more and more people to join us in this journey. So I would like to begin by giving you a little more intro about Yoga Sutras. Those of you who were there in session 1 or have seen the recording might recall that we did types of minds in session 1. What are the types of minds? What is the difference between mind and consciousness as per Yoga Sutras, Chitta, and types of Chitta? We also discussed Prakriti and Purush, right? Prakriti is nature, external world. Purush is me, I, human being. And what's the relation between mind and matter? So these were the concepts we discussed in session 1. And we also did do's and don'ts of life. We discussed 10 commandments of lives, 5 yamas and 5 niyamas. And we also did this action series in which all of you wanted to take actions on the things that we discussed. So for 30 days, we went in depth of yamas and niyamas. Every day we were doing a small practice, either related to a do of life or a don't of life. Today, let's go further and understand some more concepts of Yoga Sutras and find out what actions can we take in applying all those theories into our day-to-day lives. That is the intention for today's session. Before I proceed, anybody would like to share anything you would like to say, please feel free. We can have a 2-minute sharing. You may unmute yourselves and speak.
Shruti, we have Vaibhav who wants to ask a question.
Yes, please. Yes, Vaibhav.
Yeah, very good morning, Shruti.
Good morning.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I saw the session 1, the recording. I was not part of the group.
Sure.
And it was a great session. Like I have watched a couple of videos on Patanjali Sutras explanation of the shlokas some time back. And but the way you took us through to a journey, I was glued to the that session and the 3 takeaways, that Anitya Bhava, Pratipraksha Bhava, and Nishpada Bhava. I think it's the Brahmastra for all your issues, all for issues.
Absolutely.
That was a great takeaway for me, and I have shared with whomever I could share.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Vaibhav.
Yeah. And then I have a question that, because we all are learners and we still have not achieved, that scholarship or scholarly attitude in these literature. So I thought you will be the right person to tell us about it. So when you explained about the consciousness and chitta, so you said that chitta is the finest aspect of matter, and consciousness is called purusha. So yeah, but when you hear a lot about this chitta, generally in Vedantic knowledge, it is being taught as Sat Chit Anand, the Brahma Swarup. If you explain, it is explained as Sat Chit Anand, and there they interpret Chit as consciousness. So this word play of words, how do we understand that in Vedantic Sat Chit Anand is truth, consciousness, and bliss, and here when we say Patanjali school of thought, it is chitta is again a matter only, kind of matter.
Correct.
So can you throw some more light?
Different philosophies have different interpretations. I would request you to hold your question till the end, if you don't mind, because today we are going to discuss few topics that might answer to some extent to what you have put on as a question. So let's just discuss, go ahead in today's session. And at the end of the session, let's discuss this further. I would also like to hear your interpretation after today's session.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
all these things, they are overlapping and they flow into each other. So what we are going to discuss is more to do with Yoga Sutras, how Yoga Sutras have interpreted these topics. So according to Yoga Sutras, Chitta is just mind and consciousness is bigger than mind, which we are going to discuss today.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I would request everyone to keep the questions for the end of the session, but if you have any small, quick sharing, please do that. Yes, Rajni.
I wanted to check from you, who is the author of the translation that was being shown to us before the session began? It wasn't mentioned there. So is that yours or is that somebody else's?
That's a YouTube audio we played, just to put on some nice music till the time everybody joins. Ashish might share the link of the video later on so that you can just have a look about the details.
Would that contain, if
Yes.
that contains the author or the
Sure.
commentator on those?
So we'll just share the link in the chat.
Please, that would be nice. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. So let's begin now. I would start by sharing my screen. So Sage Patanjali describes yoga as, there are many definitions of yoga. For some of us, as we hear or read, it is union of mind, body, soul. It is concentration, right? So there could be various definitions of yoga, and each school of yoga defines it differently, and all the definitions are correct. According to Yoga Sutras, yoga means freedom from all mental modifications and mental afflictions, all fluctuations, which means having complete mind mastery is yoga. Full mind mastery is yoga as per Yoga Sutras. So Patanjali, he has set up a purpose, scope, method of this science of self-development into 4 chapters called Pada of Yoga Sutras. So just to give you a glimpse of what these 4 chapters are about, so that we know what is the part of the Yoga Sutras we are going to talk about today. In last session, we did a general overview. Today, we know exactly what are we discussing. So before doing that, let us understand and have a glimpse what are these 4 chapters about. These 4 chapters give solutions of life. In ancient times, men gave themselves to austerity, humiliation, devotion. They had control over biological and physical being. They also studied, concepts like hypnosis, drug therapy, and they were always in search of the unknown. There were discoveries made, and there were methods of self-improvement that always came as byproducts of those discoveries. The ultimate goal during that time in ancient India was to establish a permanent state of consciousness. That's why you would see all these sages would sit in solitude, do a lot of dhyan and dharana. They were in search of something unknown. And what they found out in the end was pure awareness. And in that space of pure awareness, they heard wisdom coming to them, Shruti. And they started telling each other. So in terms of, with the aid of hearing, they started compiling and gathering all this data, and all this knowledge came from the state of pure awareness. Yoga is an experiential science. In today's contemporary world, we think yoga is just a workout in forms of power yoga, hot yoga, different types of yoga forms are there for, weight loss. This is what we do on the mat. But definitely this is extremely important in order to have great physical health. And the yoga that is done on the mat usually comprises of asanas, pranayamas, meditation, and certain kriyas. But Yoga Sutra says that 90% of the yoga is done off the mat. And very few people understand and not acknowledge this part, that yoga is what we do off the mat. Out of 195 sutras mentioned in Yoga Sutras, only few sutras, very few lines are dedicated to asanas. 90% of the sutras are dedicated to the concepts which have to do something with mind yoga. And that is an experience, which you have to do certain things to experience this science. The first chapter out of all the 4 chapters of Yoga Sutras is called Samadhi Pad, and it has 51 sutras. It is the blissful state of getting absorbed into one, and it comes up with these 2 important concepts. The first one that we discussed in the beginning of the session, Atha Yoga Anushasanam, which means you don't have to wait for the next moment. You don't have to regret about the past. Forget everything that has happened in the past. This is the moment. Right now, today, this very moment is the moment you can start new life beginnings with discipline. It talks about Abhyas and Vairagya. Abhyas means start practicing now. And Abhyas just doesn't mean practice. It means something which you continuously do over a period of time, repetitively, is Abhyas. So you start now at this moment and you keep going ahead. Just keep practicing consistently for a long period of time. And when you do Abhyas, practice, simultaneously, you keep letting go. Keep letting go, which is Vairagya. So practice, let go, practice, let go, practice, let go. That is what Samadhi Pad talks about. And it also talks about Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which is the ultimate goal of Yoga Sutras, to get freedom from all mental modifications and fluctuations. It's to do with mind, Chit, mind that is free. And once mind is free, you have full control over your mind, mind mastery. These are the concepts stressed upon in the first chapter of Yoga Sutras. Second one is called Sadhana Pad. It has 55 sutras, and it is a practice for outward going minds, for minds who are part of this worldly matter, people like us who want to gain a monk mindset, who want to live a very peaceful and happy life. At the same time, we are also involved in worldly matters, in materialistic life. So our mind is more like Shipta mind or Vishipta mind we discussed in session 1 under types of mind. Mind that is sometimes focused and sometimes distracted. Sometimes we are very focused and we are very, enthusiastic in taking our mental journey ahead. Sometimes we get distracted too much into multitasking and other things. Distracted mind, thinking. Right now also you are here in the session, but maybe your mind is thinking something else also. So that is the kind of mind this chapter caters to, Sadhana Pad, for medium adhikaris. In ancient time, even adhikaris used to have a hierarchy. Uttam adhikari, and they were like, mid-level adhikari and the low level. Uttam adhikari were the very highly genius, highly intelligent students who were made to do Samadhi Pad. But medium adhikaris, okay, the ones who are like us, were asked to do practice written, mentioned in Sadhana Pad. And it talks about yoga of action. What is it that we should do? What is Kriya Yoga? And what is Ashtanga Yoga? These are the 2 things we are going to discuss more today as we proceed. Ashtanga Yoga we know because we discussed in session 1. We did all these yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. 8-fold path of yoga is what we discussed. Even these are categorized into 2, Bahiranga and Antaranga. And it's a very beautiful concept, Bahiranga, because the first 5 are related to external world. Yama, niyama, asan, pranayam, pratyahara, everything that is being done for the cutting ourselves off from the external world. Bahiranga, Bahi means external. Then the last 3 are Antaranga, which means now we are from the external world, we are going in the internal world through dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Now from Prakriti, we are going to Purush. from outside world to inside world. Isn't it beautiful? Bahiranga and Antaranga. And as we dig deep, friends, there are so many concepts. I have just, picked a few things that I resonate with, and that is easy to understand and easy to apply. It's very complex and it's very beautifully it's mentioned. There's a lot to do in even in sadhana path, 55 sutras. So you can imagine so much has been written about Kriya Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga over here. So that is for us. This is for us to begin with. Third one is called Vibhuti Pad, which has 55 sutras, and it is more to do with power or manifestation. You would have heard those old stories in which saints would get so much power that they would just fly, rise above the mat during their practice. All those magics that used to happen, and we would wonder, were these are these real stories? They would just walk barefoot on the ocean. The ocean will hold them up and they can walk. So all these small stories that we hear from the past, we don't know if it was true, but what we can gather from that is they had something magical, something that they manifested because of the tapasya, the tapa, the practice they did through sadhana pad and samadhi pad, that they are now getting promoted and they are able to reach to vibhuti pad. They attain vibhuti, which is something beyond our understanding, something beyond our physical existence, something which our mind can't even think of, but our mind has infinite power. They say our mind can control the Brahman, the universe. Our mind is so huge, so powerful that we can entire Brahman is inside it, right? So which means mind has that capacity to control things, we just cannot explain it in depth because we don't understand this part of science, if there is a science behind it. But Vibhuti Pad talks about all these powerful, magical, things people used to do in the past because they got promoted to Vibhuti. And the fourth one is Kaivalya Pad. It contains 34 sutras and it talks about moksha. It talks about liberation. It talks about freedom, which means now from external world, you had gone deep inside. And when you go deep inside, there is nothing over there. There's nothing. You are one with the universe. You are one with the ultimate reality. And that is the goal of yoga. The entire Yoga Sutras goal is to reach to this point. And if you would remember, when we discussed 5 minds, we discussed about Mura mind, Shipt, Vishipt, and then there were Ekagra mind. Ekagra mind is one-pointed mind. So Ekagra mind is to do, we all want to become Ekagra mind, right? One-pointedness. And that will happen by practicing yamas, niyamas, and all those things. But there was also the 5th mind, which was called Niruddha mind, if you remember. Niruddha. So Niruddha minds are the minds, Uttam, very high, superior adhikaris who had Niruddha mind, who were able to reach to Kaivalya Pad practices. Here, they would attain Samadhi. Total liberation. Total liberation. So this is Kaivalya Pad. So these are the, this is the basic intro on the chapters of Yoga Sutras that I thought, let me share this with you so that we know what is the part, the portion of the Yoga Sutras we are doing today. So now today you would know that last time what we did was to do with Sadhana Pad. And today also we are going to do more with Sadhana Pad because this is, the Sadhana Pad is for us, for laymen. And once we start doing this, we might have glimpse of other things, at least Samadhi Path, some portion of that. We'll have a glimpse. And even having a glimpse is huge, my friends. I don't think so. I don't know anybody who would, reach to this level at such an age as us. People would give their entire lifetime to, have those answers on how to get liberation, how to feel free, having complete freedom to do anything, a complete freedom from all the caged emotions, freedom from pain and pleasure. That's what we want, right? So freedom from pain and pleasure. We want to run after pleasure, but Yoga Sutra says you have to have freedom even from pleasure. So when there is something too good, you don't have to really jump and become too overwhelmed. Similarly, you don't have to really go very down when something negative happens. So it's like two extremes, and we are like pendulum, always swaying from pleasure to pain, to pleasure to pain, extreme conditions. What if there is freedom from both? Not too happy, not too sad, always in the center, balanced, right? That is the ultimate goal. So that was about the introduction. Before moving ahead, 2 minutes sharing. Anything if you would like to share, please unmute yourselves and share. No sharing? All right. So I move ahead then.
I have one inquiry.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you're talking about this 10% and 90%, right? That it's a very interesting one-liner. No, 90% happens of the mat. What you're trying to say is yoga as a whole. If somebody is learning yoga, you're trying to say that the physical aspect of the yoga constitutes 10%, or yoga itself is only 10%, which means non-yoga life is 90%. Can you give clarity on that? Okay.
So what you do on the mat is a workout, which is extremely important. I pay a lot of importance, and definitely this is very, very important. The whole idea of yoga is, why do you have to come on the mat to do a workout? So that you have a fit body, which is free from any ailment, any disease, free from any spinal pain. Why? So that you can sit for long hours for meditation and samadhi, because the ultimate goal is to have samadhi.
Right.
So how will you sit in a samadhi when you have physical ailment, you have spine issues, you have, other pain in the body? So yoga says, please do asana as a ritual, as a worship to self, worship of your own body. Please maintain it so that it is disease free, so that then your mind is not involved in just healing your body. You can go beyond body, beyond physical aspect of it. That is what it is.
Okay.
And yes, most of the things that we do are off the mat. We understand this. In generally speaking, how much time do we spend in a workout? 1 hour. We don't even do workout every day, some of us. So then our major life is beyond the mat, right? So that is also yoga. That is the main yoga.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just like to add, Shruti. Yeah,
Yes.
as you said, like physically it is. And there is one shloka, Sthiram Sukham Asanam.
Correct.
Like stability, what
Yes.
it gives, we do physically we are doing, but if we are not involved mentally, it's of no use then.
Absolutely.
So you cannot differentiate or you cannot separate physical and mental well-being.
No,
It's
you
all,
cannot. Yes.
yeah, it's just
Absolutely.
they are like a coin having that head and tail. So it's like Sthiram Sukham Asanam. If there is stability in your asanas, there slowly
Yes.
and gradually, it's a slow process, but gradually you are going to get what you said, attainment of
So
bliss
even
and
on the
all.
mat, while doing an asana, you have to
Yeah.
practice all these things even on the asana. I am
Yeah,
now
yeah.
gradually learning, because see, now recently I started learning yoga sutras, and I find it so powerful that when
Yeah.
you apply those things even on the mat, your workout becomes a meditative practice on its own.
Yes,
If you
truly.
apply abhyas and vairagya on the mat, it's like
Yes.
you be in the asana, you feel it, and then you let go. Every
Yeah.
asana you have to do with that feeling. Even the yamas and niyamas, when we talk about ahimsa, for example, it talks about non-violence towards others. But then it says start non-violence with yourself, which is
Yeah.
also on the mat. You
Mhm.
do tapa. Tapa is also one of the concepts, right? You have to really work hard, have discipline, be a little harsh in terms of tapa. But non-violence also, ahimsa also. So you
Yeah.
should know what asana you're doing. You don't have to overdo it. You
Yes.
break tapa, you do abhyasa, but then the moment you feel there is extreme pain or you're trying to overdo a special asana, you don't have to do it. Ahimsa with self. So all those things, that whatever we are doing, obviously they have to start on the mat, and then we have to reflect all these things even off the mat.
Yeah, as it is said, it's our everybody have a monkey mind. You have to
Correct.
tame it. You have to tame that monkey
And that
mind.
is how yoga is different from other, workouts. All the workouts are great, but then
Yeah.
why after doing a yoga workout you don't get tired? You
Yeah.
don't get tired after gymming, because even I do weights, but the day I do my weights, I feel tired. It's like my muscles need repair whole day. After yoga, after doing 1.5 hours of even difficult yoga, I would still not feel tired. I would feel joyous, and I would feel, very empowered, fully
No,
energetic.
For
Why?
me,
Because
Shruti,
the
it's a
mind is
spa.
involved.
For me, Shruti, it's a spa. I do it like that way, and I feel it every time because I practice 1 hour daily, And whenever I do, it's like I have come from a spa, and it's so rejuvenating. It's
That's
so,
right. People who love yoga, they just love.
yeah, I love it. Thank
I
you so
totally
much.
understand. Thanks for sharing that. Yes, Dayalji, please go ahead. Can't hear you. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, good morning to all. Atma Namaste. Well, of course, the sutras you are explaining are very deeply rooted. You're just working on the fraction of it. For us, it's really a fraction of it.
Yes.
So what I mean, like whatever we are doing now, we did in the past in the first, and what we are doing now, it's all undercoming eightfold up sutras, right? We don't have to go beyond, look beyond that. Like, our Vedic literature, scriptures are beyond this thing, but that also covers in this.
Yes, yes.
When we think about by Swadhyaya, we are reading of the scriptures and all. So whatever henceforth we will be doing all in this eightfold path, which is self-sufficient. We don't have to go beyond that, right?
Yes. Yes. So whatever we are doing is a part of eightfold path, like starting from Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, eightfold. But today what we're going to discuss is a little bit way ahead, but then everything is clubbed together. So everything is overlapping. Whatever we are doing comes from the second chapter mostly, which is the sadhana path. And eightfold part is also part of sadhana path. Sadhana means practice, basically, and that is made for us. To have samadhi and vibhuti and kevalya is like, actually not in the scope of our practice as of now. But yes, as I say, as I interpret, if we are doing this well, we don't know, we have a glimpse of something. Let us also be so inquisitive like ancient people. What is that unknown? We don't know. Some of us might discover that unknown, right? So let's be that childlike and let's have that inquisitiveness in which we are also in search of some unknown through this practice. So today I'm going to talk further beyond the eightfold path and a very beautiful concept and the main concept of today's section, which is Kleshas, mental afflictions. So may I proceed now? I'll just share.
Could you share the book you are referring, that scripture, that Yoga Sutras, which you mentioned in
I
your
will
first
definitely share the book, but this is my interpretation. So this you won't find, but definitely you can go through the book. It has everything.
Your explanations are very clear.
I just speak from my experience, and I just feel I'm also part of you, right? We all are same. So when we are reading, we feel everything is so nicely described. It's so great. But then how do we apply it? That's my inquiry. How do we apply? What do I do now?
Yes,
so what is the action I need to take? And when I started, interpreting it like that, I just found it very powerful. Even if you can take 2-3 takeaways and start applying, it's very powerful. So that is my intention of sharing with everyone, that, if I am seeing that, maybe you can also see that and start applying in your lives.
Thank you very much. Yeah, your explanation is very, very clear and precise.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go ahead now.